Every situation, everything is two subjects in one. What does that mean? There's the having of and then the having of not that thing, the lack of that. And so it's so easy to go to the victim side of the story, which is basically you don't understand my story. You don't understand what I've been through. Let me tell you about that. And so what people fail to realize is that by exasperating, by living in that place over and over and over and over again, they're grabbing the wrong end of the stick and then asking the world and the universe to comply with that end of the stick. Every subject is two subjects in one, the lack of and the having of, or the state that I want and the state that I don't want. So grabbing a hold of the negative end of the stick and then asking the world to commiserate with you about that end of the stick is keeping you stuck where you are. And I was on a coaching call this morning, and someone that I deeply care about was talking about the wrong end of the stick and saying, you don't understand my story. You don't understand where I've come from. And everybody on that call has a story. Everybody has something they've gone through, and it's different for each and every one of us. And I'm here to tell you that when I grabbed a hold of the wrong end of the stick and wanted to talk about that and fester in it and argue about it and argue for my limitations, I got to keep them. So instead of holding on to that side and then trying to gain a posse around you that'll commiserate with you, simply ask yourself in that moment, what is it that I really want? This is called the process of pivoting. And when you do that, you begin to tell a different story. Telling a different story is the key, is asking yourself, what do I really want? What do I want? I don't want this. This end of the stick sucks. This is the shitty end of the stick. What's the opposite of that? Something I truly want. And then go there and begin to tell a story about that. Tell a different story. The stories that you tell yourself is what runs in your mind over and over and over again. And by asking people to commiserate with you keeps you stuck in that place. And so how do you know if you're telling a story like that? How does it feel when you tell the story? Yes, it's true. Yes, it happened. Yes, it was a part of my life and that'll never change. But how does it feel? If it makes you feel crummy inside, what are you trying to accomplish? Commiseration. Misery loves company. So people come over here and they gather on this side and they grab a hold of the stick with you and they talk about it with you. Let's talk about that negative side. What is happening here? What are we accomplishing? Are we grabbing the positive side of the stick or the negative? Obviously the negative. How are we possibly going to get to the other side? We will only attract to us what we are in vibrational harmony with. We will only attract to us what we are in absolute vibrational harmony with. So ask yourself, does this end of the stick represent vibrational harmony with what I want? Or is it what I don't want, what I'm looking to move away from? And then pivot in that moment over to the other side. The process of pivoting is something that I coach on, and there's a link in this video if you want to know more about that. Click on that. We talk about the process of pivoting in my coaching program, and it's the ability to identify a negative thought process before it runs. You see, negative thoughts stack faster, and they last longer than positive thoughts because our brains are wired to seek out the negative. And so when you can train yourself, you train your brain to be aware of a negative thought when it enters, quickly pivot to the positive side, and then milk the hell out of that so that you move into a vibrational state that's in harmony with what you desire. This takes training and it takes dedication. And most people aren't willing to do that. If you're willing to learn how, click on the link and I'll share a little bit more about this process. This is something that we go deep on. It's pivoting, pivot. Milk the side that you want to milk. Tell a different story. The story that you have is from the past. We only have today. Today is the present. We're not sure of the future. Yesterday is gone. If you want to argue that point, try to get back there. And the challenge with that is exactly what's happening. Is our brains are a record of the past. And if we wake up in the morning and all we're doing is regurgitating what happened yesterday, we're living in the past. We live in the past, our brains are literally creating the same stress that happened when it happened the first time because it can't recognize the difference between reality and imagined reality. Recognize, pivot, squeeze the other side, and then milk the heck out of that new side. If you want to know more about that, click on the link. And hopefully this has served you today. We'll see you soon.